So this is like a mini rant about Lena Dunham, and I think it's like super important that people understand once again that when people of color talk about their lack of visibility in shows, it doesn't mean that like we're trying to fucking rage on the person who wrote this like great show. We're actually just trying to figure out how in the fuck you can place a show in a setting such as Greenpoint, which is predominantly black and brown people. So it's just really interesting to me that, you know, even in the backdrop, you know, we don't exist in somewhere where we exist. You know what I mean? Like, so it's shit like that. It's like the subtle erasure of people in a place where they are, you know, that really bothers people. You know what I mean? That would be like setting a show in New Orleans and not showing black people at all, or barely showing them, peppering the crowd. um you know what I mean? Like, it would be like if Treme was fucking just full of like the white characters. Granted, there are hella white characters in Treme, but it's it at least shows black and whites together and not so much the exclusion of either one, because you know, even in all black sitcoms that I notice, you know, we'll have one or two white people, and that's not super realistic either. But the thing is, since so few people of color actors and actresses are cast, we gotta like provide for our own. I feel like that's, you know, I feel like me personally, like if I ever were to get on or anything like that, or you know, need, you know, a staff or something, I would definitely try and keep my staff as brown and as black as possible. I wanted to talk about girls and like the strategic use of Donald Glover in the show. How did Donald Glover only have two motherfucking lines? Like, no tea, like I'm not even like a crazy big Donald Glover Childish Gambino fan. I listened to a couple songs. I got a couple songs that I enjoy from him. I don't think he's like a terrible person at all. I'm not really here for Community, you know what I mean? So I kind of really don't fuck with none of those people. But it's like, you know, when people of color say we're not visible enough, and you throw us in as some sort of just random fuck, I don't know, whatever. It's like damn, like if you're not gonna hear us and understand what we're saying and just do your own thing, then that's okay too. But the thing that bothers me are the white people that really don't understand like why we're upset. It's like, if you could only understand our opinion, you know, and be like indifferent, we would appreciate it. Like if you could just, you know, or even not understand it and still be indifferent, I would appreciate that as well. But the idea that like because you don't agree with me, my idea or my opinions are bullshit, and I have to be XYZ, insert racial fucking slur, insert fat shaming, insert, you know, all this other negative shit, when it's very apparent to me that you're uncomfortable talking about race. You know what I mean? And I want to hit y'all off with a quote before I dip. In a post-race country like America, where nothing and no one is racist, where people are more likely to believe in UFOs than an institutional bias, which does backflips to obfuscate the operations of white hegemonic power and therefore ensure its continuance. Anyone seeking to expose white supremacy or battle it is in for some serious uphill. You will be attacked, you will be censored, usually by your own community. People will say that you're obsessed with race, and that even mentioning white people in the context of white supremacy in itself racist. These days, the average person doesn't even have to be taught not to bring up white supremacy. Here in our country, as in Mordor, everybody knows not to say the Dark Lord's name. That's the thing, like when we start talking about white supremacy, it makes it so there's no confusion. Because white people love to argue about what is and what is not racist. And while I do agree that there is such thing as, you know, intralateral racism, um meaning prejudice towards people of color from people of color, that is not a form of racism. And I feel that most of the time when someone is prejudiced and or ignorant or bigoted against another, it is 100% a byproduct of white supremacy and therefore should be looked at as such. And if we ever want to conquer things like colorism and shadeism, then we really have to look at the infrastructure of white supremacy. And it really bothers me that, people love to deny white supremacy, but, very, very clearly, I can give you guys some instances that will have you maybe thinking for the first time about this shit. How many shows do you see with people of color on them that do not portray something negative? Notice that you can go and turn on TV and see white people doing all types of stuff. You can see white people discovering bugs and different types of wildlife on one channel. You can see white people running a business and letting people come into their business and, talk about the things going on in their business. You can turn another channel and see a show all about white people just fishing. Just white people outside fishing, talking about fishing and lures and things like that. You can turn the channel and you can see white people cooking. When people bring up shows and things that are on BET, I want you guys to understand, just like channels like Telemundo and shit, there's one fucking channel. There's one fucking channel. And the thing is, because we only got one channel, a lot of the storylines are trite as fuck. And there's a lot of tropes. When you have a network called Black Entertainment TV, and I'm not being entertained, but yet white people think that they could go to this channel and see a representation of me. Whereas a lot of the times, people of color identify largely with white culture in some fucking degree, and we're told that we're white, or that we're white acting, or that we want to be white, or that we wish we weren't black, because we have no choice but to play into and enjoy things from white people. White people are the dominant race in our society. So a lot of times when we're talking about beauty, when we're talking about mainstream shit, we're talking about white things. We're not talking about things from a black perspective, or maybe even a Latin perspective or an Asian perspective. We're supposed to watch white people over and over again every fucking couple of years. Like, not even every couple of years, every fucking year white people get a new show where they get to either exploit other white people being drunk or being sexually promiscuous or anything like that. And it's like, when we finally get a show, we gotta have every black person on this show. We gotta talk about everything from racism to fucking all types of black stereotypical issues. We can't ever just have a fucking show, because we don't have too many shows, you feel me? It's like, whenever we get a show, we got a show. We gotta do it. And it's just interesting, like, how, like, black shows could do a lot for the community or do nothing for the community. Like, think about House of Pain. What does that do for anybody? Probably nothing. But think about shows like Martin. Think about shows like The Cosbys. Think about shows like Girlfriends. Think about shows like, I'm gonna say Comic View. You know what I mean? Because I really fucked with Comic View. But there's not too many shows I could really list that really were like some staples to me. You know what I mean? Growing up, I'm just like feeling some types of way, because it's like, damn, like, I think like the most disheartening part about it is that, like, people really feel like this is for nothing. Like, me talking is for nothing. Like, that's what really sucks, is that, like, the fact that, like, I'm not even doing anything right now. Like, I'm just, like, really talking about how I feel and what I see and what I experience, and people feel like it doesn't matter because nothing you can do will change it. And I've had people say that to me blatantly, and it's like, damn, like, fuck, like, I don't need that shit. You know what I mean? I don't need that. Like, I already feel like that. I already feel like that whenever I talk about racism. I feel defeated a lot of times. But the thing is, that's how they want you to feel. Like, that's how you are gonna feel when you try to fucking talk shit about the establishment. There are people that are upholding it. There are people that benefit from it. Why would they want shit to change? Like, think about it like that. Why the fuck would white people want white supremacy to end? True tea. Because they know it ain't good being a nigga. They know it ain't good. They know that it's not fun. And they know that they're not gonna, like, you know what I mean? Like, white people acknowledge by saying shit like, Seinfeld didn't have black characters. Friends didn't have black characters. This show didn't have black characters. Why does it matter? White people acknowledge that they don't fucking see us. You know what I mean? Like, that's the fucked up thing. White people acknowledge that they have not seen us, so they don't need to see us. You feel me? We don't need to be in their space. And I think that's, like, really fucked up. But, you know, what can you do other than continue to talk about it? What can you really do other than continue to make a problem and make a fucking ruckus? Because I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't have a voice and I don't have the opportunity to speak to people and kind of open up people's minds. So with that responsibility, I feel I'm going to continue and do me. So, anyways, take care. I will have that Real Housewives of Atlanta review for you later on, alright?